the speaker?
Instagram isn't live.
I don't see a speaker.
Oh, goodness.
See the live chat. Hey, guys.
Well, it says I'm in.
Oh,
So,
there you are.
all right. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Kansas Sports HQ, episode 61.
Hey, I see you now.
We have some rants to do and things like
working.
that. Now it
Hey.
is, yeah, because all the sound runs through my computer.
I think it was working before.
No shot, but it's okay. I'm trying to get this Instagram to go live, but it's playing with our hearts. It's going to be a cold day today. Well, a warmer but cold day today, I guess. I'm not sure.
I have some Arctic temps. They said like 100 and
15 hours, 115
120
hours.
hours. I don't know why you would report that like that. Just say a couple days, but
No, they want to make you worry.
So we are live right now, huh?
yeah, it's working.
Yeah, it's working.
All right, I'm gonna go get some creatine.
Okay. Nice and cold. Gonna
Yeah,
be
we are.
chilly, which is good.
We're gonna lose out on Instagram today.
Not going there.
So, no, it won't let me.
I wonder if it's just like a connection issue or what.
I'm guessing so. I'm not sure, but
Hey, there's my comment that came through a minute ago.
yeah, I had to allow it.
Everything's super delayed.
Grainy and delayed. Yeah, I think Riverside's having some archive issues because it wouldn't let me in. It said archive server failure. But whatever. Anyways, if we're live, we're live.
It'll record. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Darn commies.
They've tapped in. They've tapped into our network.
So in our
China.
initial conversation before everything went live and didn't go live, what are these rants we were talking about here? You guys said today we're gonna rant. What is it?
We were just having good gym combos as
Yeah.
we were working out, lifting incredibly heavy weight.
We're not
morning.
gonna rant. We're just going to talk spiritually, or spiritfully
Spiritually about
about something that has to do with what we do and when we do it and when we're not doing it at the same time.
Well, we'll lay the.
wow.
I mean,
that's
First
that's
off-
very broad.
If you guys like my sweatshirt,
Like, share, comment.
the company's called MoveAware. It's my buddy from back home. It's his clothing company. It's called MoveAware. MOVAWEAR. My buddy Brighton from back home.
Brighton, we're gonna need maybe hook up the staff here
Yeah.
with a sweatshirt. Sean's already got one, so he doesn't need another one.
Well,
but
I'll take
give us
another one. I'll take another one. I've
Yeah.
I got some shorts
How-
from
but-
them. They're good. They're good shorts.
But
They,
Sean, all we can see is your neck, your beard, and the C on your head. I mean, that's camouflage. You're blending in.
oh yeah, the white camouflage. Well,
I just
only in
can't.
the snow.
I can't
Only in the
know.
snow.
But
Only in
when
the snow.
your head is just on the freezer of the fridge, that's
Why
it.
did
First of all,
why did
can't
he?
see my neck
Do you
beard.
know the story behind his company or anything? Like, can you give him a little?
no,
Promo?
he just for a while there couldn't decide what he wanted to do, so he started 5 different things, and he stuck with the clothing company. So that's good.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Is it all camo or?
No. There's a bunch of different designs he does, like some pinstripes and just regular I think it's black and stuff, but whatever. It's good clothing. I have their shorts. Or his shorts. This sweatshirt my mom got for me from him, so I like this sweatshirt a lot. Makes me look big. I'm also just big, but
Oh man.
and it's comfortable.
Yeah.
Good size. It
I'd
didn't-
wear one.
Didn't shrink in the wash either, so that was
Hey.
nice.
Oh, so it's a
Yeah.
polyester.
Yeah, so it's long enough on my long ass arms. So
Wow.
it's always a struggle. But anyway,
Work. Yeah, good. Yeah,
Just a little shout out.
Yeah, I'm good for that. Could
So
take
you
one of
were.
those.
so we're not live on Instagram.
No, we're not.
Well, I'm usually the only one who tunes into that. So we were talking about
Actually,
on the last
yesterday had
episode-
4 people
Did it have 4?
live. I was watching.
They probably saw episode 60 and were like, "Wow, this
Wow,
one's
this is
gonna
gonna
be
be
a
good.
really
Oh,
big
man,
one."
good. It's gonna be
that
big.
And then it
number.
was not.
Oh,
All
what
right,
are
so-
you got Brees
problematic.
Hall on it?
Okay. Let's. You
that
said
might be in the works. By
you
the way.
said a lot of pieces to where we're going today.
I didn't even explain that.
No, you left it
All right,
wide open.
our main
Gym combo.
topic here was is it good to condition your athletes in youth sports, and what should that look like?
Yeah, that
Ooh.
we were talking through like just it's this time of year, so everybody's getting ready for spring sports.
Or if you go back a few months,
Yeah,
right before basketball
going
season.
into winter season. Yeah, so just this common thing that you hear through mainly high school sports.
Yeah.
That everybody gets together. Like a lot of the select athletes are starting. They're like, oh yeah, we got our conditioning starting up, and I'm like, why? Like, what's the purpose? Like, what are you doing behind this? And
Well,
it's just
we're
them
just running and then doing wall sits.
It's just them running and doing, just general fitness stuff, but mainly a bunch of running. So, cardio work and just constant
Yeah.
beating down on the body. And, and you ask them, like, what are you doing that for? None of them can answer the question.
no.
Like, none of them have
This
any
is-
type of
So
reasoning behind it whatsoever.
we have conditioning in high school sports. So preseason conditioning, where you're trying to get the reasoning obviously is to get in shape for the season. And then in youth sports, conditioning is usually punishment.
Mm-hmm.
So running because of a punishment, or running because you can't make free throws, and this and that. So we were kind of talking back and forth about that this morning, because I asked one of our soccer athletes, she's getting ready for, well, two of them on the same team. They're getting ready for their high school season, and they're in the midst of conditioning, because girls high school soccer spring, boys high school soccer fall.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
making
so-
sure I got that correct. But they're getting ready for their high school season, so they're in the midst of conditioning. I asked her what she'd been up to. That's what she said, right? So just getting ready for soccer and conditioning. And I was like, oh, yeah, you guys are going to condition all this much and then get into the season
And be dead.
still be gassed in your
yeah.
first game,
Yeah.
running up and down the field a couple times. So yeah, we wanted to kind of talk about that here on the pod and get into it, kind of try to replicate the conversation we have. It probably won't be as good just because it's not, it's not off the cusp, not in the moment, and we're going to have to remember what we said, but the kind of pointlessness of it, and actually really more overall harm of it, as opposed to the actual benefits of this preseason conditioning, or this running for punishment, or whatever.
So
Yeah.
So you're saying like the preseason conditioning for high school athletes completely different than the punishment conditioning for youth athletes?
I don't say it's completely different. I'm just saying that's the two types of things you get. Like with youth sports, you're not conditioning before the season. You're usually, you get the
Foundation.
kids. You don't.
Foundation.
In my opinion, you shouldn't. You just don't have time in practice. You have better things to cover in practice than conditioning, and maybe some coaches do that, like with youth sports. I mean, I know we have some baseball teams in here right now, and they'll use some time to condition at the end. The best part about that really is, I guess, some team building mostly, and just kind of holding each other accountable through it. But what is that like? Is that a good enough benefit to outweigh kind of the negatives of it all?
You ever think that a coach looks at it as who's committed and who's not?
Yeah,
I mean, in that
think
aspect,
so. I think so. That would be
youth
how
sports.
you look at it. But now I'm obviously, and we're all baseball guys here, and Dave, you of course played college football, but I have never understood conditioning for baseball. What a flippin' waste of time. Especially in youth, like what a flippin' waste of time in practice for youth. If you're not in shape to play a baseball game, why are you out for baseball? You should be you should be getting something figured out. Your parents failed you, first of all. Second of all, I don't know. You have to run at most, and say you're kind of out of shape, then just run 90 feet. Well, in youth baseball, less than that. You're running less than that.
120 feet.
Yeah, like
Max.
mid double, if you're a good enough hitter, right?
I think now I agree with you in some parts, but I think the most important thing in baseball or that type of sport is your active dynamic warm up. Not necessarily, hey, we're going to run 5 poles before the game.
Well, yeah, but what are these? I mean, they're not doing that. I agree with you.
You don't know that.
I don't know that, but based on my experiences and based on my knowledge of the kids I talk to,
Like
they're
we
not
always
doing that.
when I played baseball, we always did it down and back, and that was our
Sure.
get the blood flowing, and then you start
Sure.
your
Like
your
we would
warm-up systems.
usually maybe jog out to center field, come back,
Yeah.
and do your
The old school moving around.
Hey, yo, can you come shake my arm out? So
Oh, my armors. Oh, I wonder why. You guys played catch at
Who
60
stretch
feet
it?
for the last 2 weeks.
who stretches their hamstrings
And then
out
went
before
and-
playing baseball?
Went out and threw 95 pitches. What a surprise your arm hurts.
The whole piece of the like timing is a lot. Not I wouldn't say the timing is everything in it because there is different ways of going about doing stuff that you can argue both sides of the fence, I think. But the reality of it is conditioning in general, and I said this downstairs when we were talking, I don't know where along the historical communication line like we switched this up at some point in time, but like I just wish that from a young age athletes were told like listen, if you're going to play sports, you need to just focus on being a good athlete.
Being in
Like,
shape yourself.
You need to be in
Yeah.
shape, and that is not something that you're going to get from practice.
Yeah.
Because it's like false hope for an athlete because then they go, well, I go to practice. Well, that's enough. Oh, well, this is this like, and that's the issue is they show up and they think, oh, well, we sprint after practice. We're doing this conditioning.
We're
quote
doing
unquote.
cone drills.
Yeah,
whatever,
we're
you
doing
know.
this, whatever. So that's enough. And then it wraps into their mindset of like, well, I go to practice all the time. Well, I do this all the time.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. That's not enough. Like if you want to compete at a high level, it should be ingrained at a young age that you need to do things outside of the norm, quote unquote, if you want to be able to compete at a high level. Like it's just that becomes the lifestyle.
Mhm.
That becomes what you do. Going to your high school conditioning a month and a half before your season's going to start, and we're just going to run your freaking balls off for a month, and then you
Or
think
if you don't have balls, run your
whatever, like you think that that's
legs
going
off.
to all of a sudden be enough
Hair.
because then they get this false hope of, oh well, I showed up at winter conditioning, I'm good, like I'm good to go.
No.
And that's part of the issue. Like that's part of the problem. So the communication side of it, I wish that from an early age, youth coaches were preaching, listen, when we come to practice, we are here to teach you the game, whatever the game is, right? Whatever it's basketball, volleyball, bowling, like I don't care what it is. Outside of here, you guys need to be doing conditioning on your own. And if you don't know what that looks like, you don't know what that regimen is, ask. And I will put it in front of you. But then it takes like what you said, where your parents are failing most kids, is that takes accountability.
Yeah.
That takes discipline. That takes the things of, hey, like we know that you're not being active enough, but we're not going to actually like look ourselves in the mirror and say, well, that's kind of our bad. Like we're
Yeah.
letting you play Xbox all night. We're letting you sit on the computer.
Hey, you worked really hard at practice today. You can have an hour of Xbox.
Yeah, like they're not.
and a peanut butter and jelly
Well,
sandwich
and that's-
at 8 p.m.
That's
It's
the
the whole
problem.
thing.
If that's your motivation too, a lot of parents are like, "Well, I try to get my kid to work hard in this, so I promise him a new game.
Sure.
I promise him,
Yep.
and that, like, I understand the reward system, but if that's your motivation for them doing well, they're not lasting in that sport.
Not at all.
And if they do like the sport, that's all it'll ever be. It'll
Right.
be this youth thing, and then they're gonna look back and be like, "Man, I wish I would have worked harder at this." So let's tackle this preseason, high school, whatever conditioning first, and we can kind of get into that youth punishment.
I just
whatever.
want to understand that, like, where at any point in time in that timetable does that scientifically make any type of sense?
You're telling me, I mean, especially nowadays, if you're a high school athlete, you're probably, especially down here in most places, you're playing your club sport year round, and you're not in shape and coaches think they need to waste time on conditioning because they need to get you in shape for their season when you've been playing club ball this whole entire time. All that does is make your athlete, first of all, less athletic.
Wasted.
And tired and more susceptible to injury.
Absolutely.
Because I say this all the time to parents, and this is obviously based on my own experience, based on the research I've done, based on what I've learned through Parisi, all this. Practice speed is always going to be different from game speed. So if you are practicing conditioning and you're just conditioning these kids, and this is not like anything against the kids. The kids are like, I'm going to work hard enough to get by without getting yelled at. I'm going to work hard
Sure.
enough to get this conditioning done within the time parameters, within the effort that I have to do it. And then so your body gets used to running in that speed with wrong form because we're just plotting and plotting and plotting and plotting, whether it's sprint this much in this amount of time or sprint long distances for a while. So your body's getting used to that. You're doing the wrong form. So when you do get into a game and adrenaline's pumping and competition's fueling you, it's two totally different speeds.
Sure.
And then you're more susceptible to injury because you're practicing with wrong form. Your body's getting beat down, especially basketball, where you're just hammering down on a hard floor for conditioning in the whole practice and then conditioning at the end. And your body's getting beat up. And then you're getting the wrong form taught to you, and then you try to speed that up. That's when the injuries happen too, because we're not decelling properly in conditioning and practice. We're not getting our foot striking in the right position when we're running because we're leaning forward and we're landing and we're landing and we're landing, put more stress on our knees and our ankles. That's why so many kids get jumper's knee and patellar tendonitis and all the and shin splints and all this stuff, right? And so we're doing this for 2 or 3 weeks, and guess what? You're going to get to that first game. You're still going to be gassed.
So
it's
let
a
me-
huge waste of time.
Let me interject real quick because reel it back to
No.
I played in a club. I'm playing club soccer. I go to my coach, my high school soccer program. Really, all I feel like coaches are doing is one from their high school level or whatever. They're not paying attention to what their athletes are doing in the off season, so therefore they reinstall them into a program that they think is best, and that's failing the kids.
Sure.
I mean, talk about a multi-sport athlete that comes in from, playing football to basketball to baseball or track or however that looks. They all have their own specific speed and their own specific training based on the coach's programming.
Mhm.
Why are they why are they failing them if they pay attention, they would know their athletes ready to rock and roll. But they all want to install their own program. They all don't talk to the same level of athletic needs in the gym or in the conditioning. I mean,
And most high school coaches, to go off your point there, most high school coaches, and this is a generalization, I'm sure some high school coaches do whatever. If you're a high school coach, you want to yell at me, fine, I don't care. But a lot of high school coaches will stick with what they know and what they grew up doing because, if they got conditioned when they were in school and they got conditioned when they were in college and now they're coaching, they want to do more of that. So it doesn't matter what their athlete's doing out there. When they come in, they're like, well, this is what I did my whole life, so I'm going to kind of put it forth to the kids. So
are we saying they're not continuing their education and what is best for conditioning?
I would say probably
Partially
along the
that,
line,
but it's
along the
also-
lines of that.
It's also location and limitations too. Like you gotta understand like if we're talking about Kansas, Keisha's a bitch. Like they
Gosh
straight up,
dang. All
you
bold.
know, they're gonna limit them in so many aspects of what they can and can't do in their quote unquote off seasons. And then you got whiny parents that are. I mean, Keisha doesn't exist without Karens. The only reason that Keisha can do anything in this state is because Karens, like, they complain, right? So when these kids are out trying to do things outside of the box, they're trying to push themselves, do all this stuff, then it becomes it's a complaint. Like somebody out there complains about them, and then that's what starts the rolling of the downhill stuff. But on the topic of what we were talking about with that side of things, when you limit them into a box, right? I truly, I genuinely believe that high school coaches are just trying to make the most of the time that they have. I believe that, and I understand that, but understanding the science base behind it, like just running and running and running and running and running and running and running is not building up athletes, it's breaking athletes down, right?
Yeah.
There's pieces of that you can pull from and say, this is important and we need to focus on this. But the difference is, and I don't know that this is quote unquote the coach's fault, to me, it's the athlete's responsibility, or it should be the athlete's
Yeah.
responsibility to be doing this from a year-round perspective to take care of themselves. We have just done a bad job at a youth level leading into the high
Yeah.
school levels of saying, oh, going to this practice is going to
Thanks,
be
Jesse.
enough, right? Huh? Oh, you see, I didn't even
Yeah.
look at that. But, like just going into this is going to be enough. Oh, well, you go to conditioning, you deserve this. You do this and you get that. Like it's,
Oh, okay.
That's
well, that's gonna get me started on something else.
yeah.
Let's go.
But
Get
so-
going.
and it's not like the coaches don't have good intentions what they're doing.
Sure.
This goes for everything, every aspect of your life. You can have really good intentions in something and still do it completely wrong,
Oh, 100%.
or still do it a little bit wrong,
Yeah.
and still hurt the people you're trying to help.
Yep.
And to really not necessarily any fault of your own, other than this is kind of the way you were kind of taught and bred. And
Well,
it's
it's not a one
for a
size
coach.
fits all.
And
You
for
know
a
what I
coach,
mean? Like,
sometimes this stuff is more comfortable to do this as an assurance that your
Yes.
team is going to be
Yes.
more in shape as you get closer to the season or whatever. And then that little like, oh, you've earned this because you've worked so hard.
right.
When I look at you and when I see you're working hard, that pisses me off as a coach, because I've been around programs where guys will work hard in practice or work hard while the coach can see them, but behind the scenes they don't do anything. So all of a sudden the coach has this
Uh-huh.
this moniker of like, I don't know if that's the right word, but this sense of that these kids are hardworking, so they earn this spot because they've been around the program. They work hard. When I'm looking at them, what are they doing off the field? Because I've seen this with athletes I've coached,
It's like
with-
front running,
with
basically.
with people I've played with, and they get these opportunities when I know behind the scenes this kid's been in the weight room. This kid works out with me after practice and everything, and I
Right.
trust it. But he's not getting an opportunity because some upperclassman works hard when the coach is looking,
Right.
and doesn't do
Right.
shit when no one's looking. And that's what pisses me off too, is that, like you said,
This
if
might be our record for bad words on a podcast.
maybe,
yeah,
yeah, I know we're getting fired
This is
up
a
now.
fiery subject.
We're getting fired up, but it's like, if you are a high school athlete. So, for instance, let's there was this Tampa Bay Buccaneer draft pick this year, 3rd, 4th round draft pick, super talented dude, overweight, defensive line,
Yeah, I remember.
overweight,
I
huge
forgot his
dude.
name, but I
me
remember.
too. And the Buccaneers would not allow him to practice. They drafted him and everything. They would not allow him to practice until he lost the weight. They weren't going to waste time forcing him to do it. They forced the accountability on him. Now, I know this is a pro sport, so you're like, okay, you're 22, 21, 23 years old. You need to handle your business here and do it. And he never did. And I think he got cut. I don't know for sure, but I think he got cut. And people are like, oh, I feel for this guy. I was like, no, dude.
Why do you feel for
Like,
this guy?
he
you
had
know?
the opportunity of a lifetime and he didn't take advantage of it. And I think high school coaches should trust and hold their athletes accountable to do this kind of thing. Like, if you don't come in ready to roll, because what not breaks my heart, but ticks me off a little bit, maybe breaks my heart a little bit, is when I hear from a parent, I'm reaching out, hey, good to see so-and-so in class today down in Parisi. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I know. We want to get in more. They're just so worn out from conditioning. I'm like,
Yeah.
so you're telling me we're taking not only hurting, we're taking up practice time to work on this crap, okay?
Yep.
That is wearing them down and hurting them, and then they're way sore at practice the next day and aren't able to perform, and then you're taking them away just from something that's you're paying for as a parent, and that's actually going to help them way more than that conditioning they're doing at practice.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's obviously our perspective there, and that makes total sense.
Yeah.
But
There's obviously a little biased
yeah,
in that
for
regard.
sure. But
But
when you look at so when I think of, I put myself in a coach's shoes, right? So if I was
Yeah.
coaching a high school program and I was looking at this, this is the part that makes it. This is the part why I think that sports are too soft. This is the old head mentality, I suppose, but whatever. When I look at my group, right, whatever sport I was coaching, it wouldn't matter. Girl sport, boy sport, doesn't make a difference to me. When I show up and let's say that I get a month with these kids or 2 months with these kids, whatever it is, before we get to what we're doing, the self-assessment that needs to be done on the athletes that I have in this group becomes part of the issue, right? One, it's either a lack of information, lack of knowledge.
Mhm.
Okay. Two, it's the lack of accountability and being honest with your athletes. Or three, they're just lazy and they don't want to do it, right? It's some mixture of all of that. I'm not saying all coaches, just some. But if I'm looking in, and obviously baseball guy, so if I was looking at my baseball team, my softball team, whatever, and I show up and I'm like, all right, how many people do we have? This is a mandatory first day, right? I need to know if you're going to try out for the baseball, softball team, basketball, whatever, you got to be here on this day, right? So everybody gets there. I need to assess some way, somehow, right? This is how I would do it, right? Some way, somehow, I want to get an assessment of what are the metrics that I'm going to pay attention to. How am I going to pay attention to them? And I'm going to look at these things off the cuff. Like, let's get this stuff lined out first. So then I look at that. And let's say we got 20 girls that are on my team. And I look at the 20 girls and I go, okay, there's 4 of you on here that I would consider, our top 4 athletes, right? So these 4, I would then have conversations with them. What are you doing, right? What does your daily schedule look like? What are you actually participating in, right? My bottom 16, right? Because there's really, you got a few top athletes. Yeah. That's it. Everybody else is on the bottom. So then I'm asking the bottom 16, what are you guys doing, right? And it takes time. It takes effort. It takes energy. But then you go through and you put together, okay, here's where we're at and here's what's going on. I need honest feedback, honest answers. I need to know what's happening. Because if I have 2 months of time and this metric says this says this, right? That's where the variables come into play. But then you can look at this and go, okay, you're fat, you're slow, you're uncoordinated, right? You're all these things, okay? This girl over here is weak, right? This one, like, you're going to look at all these differences, and you got to be honest with the athlete. Like, it's not a feelings thing. It's not this, listen, I can tell you haven't done shit for the last 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is. Man. I get it. Like, and you haven't. So what can we do to fix it, right? Like, we need to sit down and look at it, be objective towards the whole thing and say, okay, I got 2 months to work with you. Are you doing anything outside if you're on your own? Like, be honest. Like, don't, oh yeah, I'm hitting every day. I'm throwing every day. I'm doing this every day. Like, don't give me the runaround. Like, give me the honest truth. Now, if I got a girl who's overweight by however much it is, right? Whatever I want them to be at based off their position and what you're trying to do, what makes more sense, right? Does it make more sense to just run her balls into the ground over and over and over and over and over and over and over again? Or does it make more sense to put a program together that's going to ease her back into activity, number one, so that way she actually has the mental capacity to want to do it, right? And I'm not saying you got to take 6 weeks to make that happen, but you can do that in a few days. Like, you can ease her back in with a week. But if you come in all hot and you're like, all right, on the line, let's go. That's why numbers go the opposite direction, because then little Sarah wakes up tomorrow and she's fallen down because she can't move. Yeah, she's a friggin', she can't do anything. The mental capacity is all screwed up at that point in time. So it's just a bad approach. Like,
well, I mean, how much can you, like, everything you just said, as opposed to getting him on the line, and running him, how much can you just figure out from watching him do body weight squats and lunges?
Oh my goodness, tons.
Like, you could literally, you could tell who the best athletes are, who has the best balance, the best core strength,
yes,
the best, see where, as far as athleticism goes, there, out of just a 10-yard walking lunge, and see how they do a body weight squat. And if they can do those things pretty well, okay.
Well,
and now we'll kind of figure out from there,
though, right? Like, so you take your better athletes, like, you get the ones that are on the right track, okay? So you get a plan for the ones that aren't. That's the first step, right? Like, hey, you guys are behind. What do we need to do to get you back up to speed, right? What's the answer there? Let's just run you to death so that way you're going down, like, you're going backwards, because that's what that does. Like, they're like, oh no, it's going to get them in better shape. How?
High school season
explain
is
it.
so
Like,
short,
explain to me how that gets them in better shape.
Doesn't.
Like, at what metric does that help? Are they gonna run miles for you on the field? Like, what do you mean? Like, make it make sense, because it doesn't make sense.
And that's what, if you're going to work on conditioning and practice, and we talked about this too, there's like, you're going to work on something like that in practice, where you do want them moving around consistently, right?
Sure.
Whether that's basketball, soccer, and most coaches do stuff like this, but this is where the focus, pretty much all coaches do stuff like this. Just, this is where the focus should be as far as conditioning goes. Make it competition-based conditioning. Because if it's just get on the line and run, or do this sprint in this amount of time, or just we're running for the next 10 minutes laps, that's not getting them prepared for a game. Competition and adrenaline fuels them. So if you want to make them ready for a game, you should practice as much as you can game-like.
Right.
It's just like all the rants we have about summer ball and how players are like, well, I'm just going to train by myself this summer. I kind of want to take some time off.
Sure.
It doesn't work, right? If you're not seeing live pitching, it doesn't work.
Can
you know,
emulate game speed. Period.
right?
Like,
right.
Just,
I mean, I can go and I can shoot hoops without a defender and make 35 out of 53s, but then I get to a game.
pretty good.
That's exaggeration, right? That's exaggeration. I definitely could not do that right now. But it's so in you know, and then you get into a game, you have defenders, you're rushing it because of adrenaline, everything like that in the competition, right? Or you don't catch it in a perfect spot like you do when you practice, right? Then you're not going to be as prepared for the game. I'm not saying don't shoot it. Please shoot hoops by yourself if you're a basketball player. Obviously, you got to work on the foundation parts of it. But if that's all you're focused on, right? Solo work on stuff. That's the kind of stuff you do off the field. In practice, right? You fuel the conditioning by competition.
I just don't see how, if I get a month, because that's about what they get, right? Maybe a month and a half, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
6
6
weeks,
weeks,
6
8
weeks.
weeks,
6
right?
weeks.
So if I
For
get 6
like, are
weeks,
you saying preseason?
yeah, like
I would say,
conditioning.
yeah. I bet it's even
'Cause, I
less. I bet it's less than 6 weeks.
Because they try out at the end of February, and most of the conditioning started this week.
Yeah.
So whatever that, it's probably
It's
roughly
6
about
weeks.
6 weeks,
If
right?
you're
So
talking
in
like
a 6-week time frame, I just don't get where, one, nobody's doing what I just explained first and foremost, or at
Right.
least not that I.
if you're not taking
knowledge.
advantage of that
Yeah,
time that
they're-
you have right there.
That's probably not happening, right? So they're just coming in and, hey, we're doing conditioning on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays, you know, and then they show up. All right, what are we doing today? Run, a little bit of core, run, and we're out. That's essentially the
You're doing
recipe
for
that you
2
know.
weeks. You just lost 2 weeks of developmental time. You could have worked on
100%.
something else.
So in big picture stuff, if I'm looking at the time that I have and I'm saying, okay, in 6 weeks we start tryouts, and then 2 weeks after that we play our first game, right? Whatever it is, whatever sport, right? So let's just call it 8 full weeks that I have to get ready. So I'm going to take the first 2 weeks to 4 weeks, and I'm going backwards.
Mhm.
So then for some reason, I think that that's going to prepare them better. And then once I feel like we're prepared better, then we're going to start practicing, even though my athletes are metric wise going backwards. But then I want to go to my first game, and we want to be as healthy, as strong, as fast, as confident, we want to be a full ready,
Be
full
prepared.
go.
Yeah.
But
Like-
you just spent 6 weeks beating your athletes
Like
down.
that's the part that just doesn't, like, in simple,
Does not add up.
like in
quite very
simple
much,
terms, like without getting too deep in like science side, like it just doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like it just doesn't.
But
Now, if
a
you're
lot of
completely
coaches are
out of
raised like
shape,
that.
right? Oh, 100%. That's why most programs do it,
Yeah.
right? Because personally, I think it's the lazy way out. But because they don't want to do all the things that I just explained, right? They don't want to sit down with 20 athletes.
Yeah.
They don't want to actually dive into their schedules. They don't want to actually piece it all together.
Well,
but
and
that's what we do.
when you get into that mindset, right, and instead of breaking it down, trying to break it down athlete by athlete, putting together, hey, here's your preseason plan, but you have to take care of this yourself, because when we're on the field, we are practicing baseball, we are practicing soccer,
Yes.
we are practicing basketball on the court, football, et cetera, et cetera. This is on you to do. When you don't do that, and maybe this out of shape kid's a great hitter, all right, and maybe, you know, you let that slip there, they get into the season and they are out of shape, but they're a good stick, or maybe they're a good fielder or a good pitcher, but they're out of shape, and that hurts your team. And you haven't given them that accountability, and then they go along thinking that they can continue to do this, right, without being completely ready for their team and themselves. That's where attitude issues happen.
Mhm.
That's where you as a coach, all of a sudden you're like, crap, I put myself in a hole where this guy really hasn't earned his spot, or this gal really hasn't earned her spot, and now I'm stuck.
You're missing one key component that will always be a factor. And that is parents chirping in that coach's ear.
Yeah.
Oh, he's just having a tough day. Give him a chance.
Yeah, the accountability process is a whole.
It starts
You're
with your
putting-
athlete in the sport. It goes down to the parents who need to enforce
Oh,
it.
why are you taking him out now? It's been 2 weeks. He's been hitting fine. Well, he's hurting us on defense, or he's hurting us here.
You know,
he's hurting
like-
us here.
Oh, they don't. Yeah, that's that. Well,
But
and that
but
turns
because he
into a
does,
whole.
yeah, but
whole
because
different thing,
but
yeah.
then because you didn't address this something or another early enough. It's just like when at the beginning of the season, like you need to address attitude and being a good teammate, right? Because if you wait and then at midway through the season, your best player is the worst attitude and the worst teammate, and then you're in a bad position because I've made that same mistake before, right? And I think we all have as coaches. Is we've let this fester, and now we're in a bad position where we need to win games going to end the season, right? Finish the season strong. But then my best player's actually been a cancer to the rest of the people. So it's like, wait,
Well,
is it
that's-
better to take him out?
it's the same
and
thing I
with
said.
Our
Well,
best
I
player,
mean,
or, you
but
know?
has the coach been fueling that best player?
exactly,
If you're
that's what
not
I'm saying.
self-reflecting as a coach on what you're
Yeah.
bringing to the table, I think that is a huge thing. I mean, you know, I grew up in Bigger, Faster, Stronger. If I knew about Wichita Parisi or some type of program like that, my parents probably would have gotten me into something different than just going to 0 hour to lift and then go into my weightlifting program and having gym. You know, those kind of things that was enough for me. Like that's what
Yeah, and that's that's essentially that's what I grew up doing too. So it's not like when over this time, I feel like what we do now has only been made popular very, very recently.
Oh, in the grand scheme.
in
of
the
how
last
long, yeah.
10, 12
Obviously,
years.
it's,
Sure.
obviously, it's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
It just hasn't really exploded, and there hasn't been as many options until in these markets especially until recently. But I think we can kind of bridge this into youth sports and how, as you know, coaches now in high school have to feel like they need to do this conditioning or whatever to start the year, has potentially came from how we are coaching youth sports and how we are quote unquote conditioning in youth sports.
Well, and the youth side of it, that's what I was gonna, and it trickles into high school too, I think. But high school coaches, depending on where you're at, right here in this state, most high school coaches, high percentage of them are teachers that
Right.
are coaching,
Yeah.
right? In some other states, right, where
Most of the time,
Keisha
that's
isn't their ugly paws all over everything. Like you get some actual sports people that are there to coach, right, to run a program that way.
Yeah.
Then there's a plethora of different ways of going about it, right? Like there's just different things. And youth sports, especially youth coaches, right? We deal with a lot of youth coaches.
Mhm.
Some are great because they actually care about the development of the kids and they want the kids to get better. And some of them don't even mention the words winning and losing, right?
Fantastic.
They don't even talk about it. Like there's nothing about it. Then you got your travel everythings across all the different sports where winning and losing is the number one thing. Now, I believe that there's a happy medium in some aspects in there because obviously winning is a part of developing and losing sucks. So, you know, like that's just the realities. Can you learn from losing? Yes. Is there different lessons to be taken there? 100%. But putting winning and losing above making the right decisions for the guys and gals, that is where the issue typically roots into all of this style of topic being an issue at some point in time, is because, you know, you got, like we were talking downstairs, you know, like you talk youth baseball, softball, you got 11 to 12 to 13 kids, right? Whatever that number is, depending on your age. So when these style of topics come up and things like that, and you're talking about a kid that's cancerous or a kid that's not doing this, not meeting the bell of the standard that you're setting for them, right? Well, what do? You know, and these coaches get engulfed into this mindset of, well, he's still my best player. I got to find a way to get him on the field. I got to do this. I got to do that. And it's like, personally, I believe that you're doing a disservice to that kid
Yeah.
because you're
Absolutely.
allowing that kid to think that you can do all of these things and still find your way on the field. But that's
Eventually, reality is going to hit that.
Right,
kid.
that-
Might
and
not
that's-
be the next year.
right.
Might not be the year after that.
that's part of the problem, right?
Probably
Hey, listen,
eventually.
here's your metrics. These are what you got to hit if you want to start, right? It's just make it black and white, like make stuff simple. Now, and there's got to be wiggle room. It's youth athletics, right? Like you got to find the things, but you got to find ways to push that needle in that direction. That is what allows these younger athletes to develop the right mindset towards it, which really boils back down to the main point of, if you're going to play at a high level, You cannot slap a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. Like, it's not going to solve the problem.
Are you sure?
And that's what conditioning in my brain before a sport like that is essentially what you claim that you're trying to do, right? It's just not gonna, you're not gonna create an athlete in that short time period. You're not gonna all of a sudden fix a bunch of problems in that short time period. But people think, and look at our country, like look at the people in this day and age. Like they just think, oh yeah, I can work out for a month and I'm cool. Like it's about compounding the days, right? Stacking the days over an extended, not a short term, an extended period of time. And that doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter if you're a youth athlete, high school athlete, college athlete, pro athlete, whatever it is, right? You can go ask any pro athlete and they'll tell you 100%. Like, oh no, I got to do it every day. Like it's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
College athletes get it for the most part. They're like, oh no, it's an everyday thing. Like I got to do it every day. The mindset change really is between the youth and the high school into college. Like that's where you get these athletes that are delusional and think they can go party and go do all the dumb stuff and all these different things. And it's just going to work out. Like it's just not, it doesn't work like that. And if it was that simple, then everybody would.
Very few times if I'm, back home with some of my buddies I grew up with, very few times do we start talking about this stuff and I don't hear, "Oh, yeah, man, I should have stayed out for that," or
every time.
I should have worked harder,
Every time.
should have put more effort into that. And yeah, that starts at the youth, whether you're in a super small town or whether you're in a bigger city, you have a bigger market, more travel ball kind of push towards kind of thing. And you're going to have some kids who are very intrinsically motivated already. Like they're the kids who dream about being a pro athlete, but also are like, I just love this sport so much, I never want to stop doing it.
Yep.
Or I love both of these sports so much, I never want to stop doing them. I'm gonna go from the moment I wake up, I'm thinking about it. And I'm talking 6, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds. From the moment I wake up, I'm thinking about it till throughout school, I'm thinking about it. To I'm ready for practice and I enjoy practice. It's not this burden I have to do to get to the games. I enjoy doing practice. And then after practice, I do more work. And then I get home and I watch it, And throughout the day, you're going to have those kids, and that's awesome. And I always love that attitude. You're going to have a lot of kids who like the sport but don't want to do any of the work for it. And they might be really, really good, like you said. But if you're not trying to hold them accountable at a young age, they're just going to you're doing a disservice to that kid, because that kid is going to hit a wall at one point and just run. He's not going to go try to climb the wall. He's not going to try to break through it. He's going to run the opposite way because he doesn't like getting challenged. He doesn't like getting pushed. And when we talk about conditioning like youth sports, normally it's a lot of times it'll be like end of practice or something, or it's punishment, which I was talking to a kid the other day, and he said, yeah, at practice we do suicides after we don't make a certain amount of free throws. And I was like, is that helping you make more free throws now because you're doing suicides afterwards?
It is.
Because fear-based really helps you, helps you lock down that free throw flow.
I actually perfected my free throw form while I was sprinting.
Right. Yeah. Because you're not just like thinking about, oh man, if I miss this, I gotta run. Yeah. Anyway, I think like that, and even when a kid's screwing around, and you're like, all right, let's run. Like at a certain age, yeah, sure. I mean, you need to kind of set your foot down, but it doesn't need. I mean, I'd rather do, like pause squats or push-ups or something that actually maybe helps develop their bodies a little bit and learn how to move their body than just running.
Oh, there's different things at different ages.
And I get the want to punish them. But if you just say, guys, if we don't do this, we're going to run, as opposed to giving them the reason that we're doing what we're doing and why you're coaching the way you're coaching. Like you need to tell them, you're letting this person down. You're letting your parents down. You're letting me down by you not putting this effort in or screwing around or not paying attention. And if you don't want to deal like that, you're just not going to play.
Yeah.
All right. You're just not going to play.
Well,
and,
I think
and you have enough players for the most part to do that.
The punishment running is fine to an extent. Yeah. 1, 2, punishment running in my head where I think it's acceptable and where I think that it makes sense, because I do it with my kids.
Yeah.
But I do it with my kids because it's not results driven, right? It's not mechanically based.
Yeah.
Like it's not anything that has to do with anything that we're trying to accomplish, right? Because that's where coaching comes into play, or it should come into play. We run when we're at a point where you're not listening. We run when you're at a point where you can't control your mouth, right? We're going to run to calm down because while you're running, there's nothing else that you can do, right?
A little mental reset.
You're just slowing down the process because all that you think about, right? You get moving. And now, granted, like we're not out here like when I've had to do this with Scout a couple times. It's not like we're out here and I'm like following her and like behind her. Like
you're not like faster.
No, it's a decompression thing, right? That's what it is. It's a healthy, it's active, and it's a way that she can learn to process her thoughts without being elevated at all times, right? It just so happens that they're moving around while they do it, and it allows them to start to kind of feel their body and feel the rhythm of how that works, right? Because I'm a big believer in that. I think movement is rhythm.
And there needs to be punishment for kids' actions, obviously.
Oh,
like
yeah, there's discipline for a reason.
You need to be,
Yes.
you need to discipline
Yes.
kids, and I
Yeah,
absolutely.
and you got to do it. For me in a team setting, right? So if I'm on a team, right, because we obviously coach groups, you know, when I have a kid that's doing something like that, it's the same mindset, right? Like, hey, Johnny, I've told you 6 times, right? So obviously this isn't getting through to you. So I'm going to have you step over here calmly, collectively, right? Like it's not out of anger, because I think if you start doing it out of anger, that becomes a whole different thing. It's a, hey, Johnny, like you've had multiple opportunities to correct this. You're not listening. That's totally fine. But I'm not going to do a disservice to the rest of your teammates, because the rest of your teammates are here for a reason. Like they're here because they want to get better. I'm going to have you step over here on the side, and I just want you to start jogging. I'll come grab you here in a minute. Right? It's not a, you're a piece of get on the line, blah, blah, blah. You know, like that's a whole different topic, right? This is a, hey, you're going to go over here and align yourself. Like you're going to get your thoughts lined out to where, hey, do I enjoy this more than that? Right? Do I think that this is cool compared to that? Right? So like if that's where we get to, that's a whole different thing. But usually what we see in youth sports, I don't see that very often.
Yeah.
What I typically see is a coach who gets overwhelmed, right? Coaches that don't understand how to regulate their own emotions, right? Really understanding where they're at when it comes to, right? We're coaching 7-year-olds or 13-year-olds or hell, even 18-year-olds, right? They can't process what level that they're working at. So then they let that come out of them, and they're like taking it out here, taking it out there. That's where that's a no-no. Like that's where we're at a point where it's like, like that's not going to be productive, right? That's nobody's learning anything at that point in time, right? Like you're going down a path of where it's just a combative battle between you and whoever it is, right? And I've coached some big dudes. Like I've coached some guys that are way bigger and stronger than me, right? And I've been up in their business multiple times, like high-level guys, checking them. But there's a level of respect there between athlete and coach, and they have to go through the same process. What do they do when they come out of that process? They're more aligned, they're relaxed, like they get back into the swing of things. Because if you think that you're better than the rest of your teammates because of whatever reason, right, that's where the issue lies. Like that's the behavioral problem anyway at the end of the day. So right and wrong ways of going about that, how you want to go about it and do it. Discipline is important. I think that you have to have it, especially in team settings.
Yeah.
But how you go about doing it and how it comes off and how you verbalize it are going to be, every athlete's going to take it differently. But if you don't have a stern point while coaching the team, there's going to be issues. Like you're going to have, your players are going to try to run the team, and that can't happen either, right? So you got to have the boundaries, and they got to be thick, and you got to set them, and you got to make sure that you honor those boundaries as well. So, I mean, there's just a lot that goes into the team aspect side. But on the conditioning topic, I think that that's where having the right education, having the right approach to it, having all of the things put together, there's pieces to it that I understand. But then the blanketed, like, just go and do it for 2 months with absolutely no purpose, point, reasoning, understanding behind it all, like, that's where it's like, why are we wasting time? That's like my biggest pet peeve in athletics, is wasting time.
Oh yeah.
I have that conversation with parents all the time. Oh, well, we're going to do this. Why? Like one of our top athletes is playing basketball right now. Why? He's a freaking football player. Why are we playing basketball?
Because he wants to.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, multi-sport athletes, blah, blah. You're 5'5". Why are we playing basketball? Why? Explain it. Well, it's fun. Okay, why? But why? Like, tell me why. And the only reason is because he enjoys it and he wants to do it. Okay, like, you're wasting time. Like, in my opinion, right? I can spend these 3 months making you much better than what basketball is going to do, right? So it's just a process of understanding what is more important. Now, is it a right or wrong thing? No, it's not. If he wants to do that, it's not a right or wrong, right? You go enjoy it. It's your last year. Enjoy your friends. Enjoy your things. But that's your decision. So understand that you're making that decision. Does that mean that I believe that you're going to have to work harder after that? 100%.
Yeah.
Do I think that you've lost 15 pounds from where you came out of? Yeah. I think that there's a lot of pieces that are going to be having to put back into the puzzle. Is it possible? Sure. Do I think you have the work ethic? Sure. Like, so it's just again, it's not right and wrong, but it's about having the right plan in place to maximize your time, get the most out of your time. Because ask most athletes, like you said, you go and ask most athletes that when they're done playing, very resoundingly, you will hear, I wish I would have spent more time on this. I wish I would have worked harder here. I wish I would have taken this more seriously. I wish this. Like, everybody looks back on their careers when they didn't make it all the way and they have pieces of regret that they look at and they go, man, I wish I would have done this. Wish I wouldn't have wasted time. Wish I, and that's very natural and very normal. But
yeah, I have the same thoughts about my career too. I made some decisions that I shouldn't have. I spent time doing things that I shouldn't have. And I consider myself, one of the hardest workers on all of my teams that I played on. But there was still more I could have done. There were still better decisions I could have made. There were still better ways to spend my time than I did. And, being a coach, always think back, like if I were to give an advice to any coach, right? And I'm sure they would agree, always think back to how you wished you spent your time and how you wish you were communicated with at certain times before you put your basic plan together for the season. Whether you're coaching 9-year-olds playing basketball or whether you're coaching 16-year-olds playing high school softball, right? Put together a plan that reflects, all the regrets or all the different things you would have implemented into your career, and try your best to emulate that, first of all, as a coach, and then put that into your athletes moving forward. And there's no perfect plan, but you're a coach for a reason. One, it's probably you love the sport. Two, it's because at some point you burned out and you want the next generation coming up to be better than you. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that should be your goal as a coach, right? And then there's obviously some other types of coaches that don't have those regards, but most of the time coaches are in it because they love building relationships with kids. They love building kids up and making them better than they were and giving them the best opportunity to be better than they were when they were, and they want to right the wrongs that were done to them. Not that the wrongs were on purpose or anything, just right the wrongs that they were done to them.
Yeah, just make it better. Yeah. Do it better.
Yeah. And tell all the kids all the time, there's not only like you have to listen, but you have to focus. To go back to just some discipline, to go back to giving reasons why you need to do things. A kid can look at you, not be talking and nod his head, but if he's not focused when he's actually moving and focused on utilizing the words that you're saying to him, whether it's hitting, conditioning, performance,
comes down to comprehension all together.
Right. And you need to over-explain yourself, show them how to do it. Over-explain yourself again, show them how to do it again. So then they can obviously feel comfortable to ask questions. But there's listening, and then there's also listening and focus to do the drill the correct way or do the thing that you're teaching the correct way as well, and thinking about doing it while you're doing it. Mm-hmm. So there is that mind-body connection eventually, because your body can move and listen to what you're doing and try to do it, but if you're not focusing on the movement as well, you're not actually getting better. You're just going through the motions.
100%. All right. That was fun.
Yep. Heat turned up. By the way, disclaimer, we could go 3 more years down the road or a couple months down the road and think we made a mistake this way or made a mistake this way. So it's not like we're coming from a place where we're perfect and you're not.
Sure.
So if you have comments, you have questions, you have concerns, please hit us up.
Yeah, hit us up.
If you want to get on the pod and say your piece about conditioning, come on. Get on the pod. We'll have a conversation.
This is the first time that I've been super quiet most of the time.
Yeah,
that was awesome, fellas. I loved all of it. Like I was in the zone, and that was awesome. So, well, let's close this thing down. We've had at least 4 or 5 people listening for the whole time.
Yeah,
so thank you guys for jumping in. Jesse, thanks for chatting with us. I'm sure we'll get you on again very soon.
The Wichita Parisi 7992.
Whoever said, "Hey guys," I bet you it was Sheldon.
That was when we weren't live.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was just seeing if it worked.
Yeah.
Like,
but anyways, Sean, can you lead us in player prayer?
Player prayer.
Prayer, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Lord, thank you again for this day. Thank you for giving us just something to talk about. And Lord, I just pray, forgive us for our language. Probably didn't need to use that, but just also thank you for not only giving us truth and giving us conversation, but giving us emotions and as well to utilize and hopefully use in the right way as we coach and we compete, Lord, and just give us the wisdom to handle each and every situation and the peace to deal with failure, the peace to get through certain situations. So, Lord, as we move forward, as we talk about these things, thank you for the opportunity, but also give us the best communication, the relationships to execute what we're trying to do, Lord, and hopefully do it all in the glory of you and listen to your voice inside and your convictions as opposed to our own. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. That's it for episode 61, conditioning in youth sports, high school sports, little rants here and there. Thanks for joining us.
Better than 60,
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Episode 60.